Hey, it's Dr. Kate Walker. I'm using brand new streaming software, so I'm a little behind today, but I'm really excited. It's called StreamYard.com, StreamYard. So we'll see if this works. I've got my fingers crossed. I have my business page open, Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses. And so if you are unable to hear me or see me, you guys are pretty good about letting me know, giving me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Today, I'm going to talk with you about the difference between a remediation plan and a a progressive discipline plan. So let me say that again. The difference between a remediation plan and a progressive discipline plan. Supervisors, this is for you if you're going to own your own business and hire your supervisees. Graduate students, supervisees, LPC associates, this is for you if you feel like your boss is doing it wrong, right? Because it's really important that your boss, your supervisor know the difference between these two things, a remediation plan and a progressive discipline plan. So I'm going to talk to you about that. Plus, I'm going to let you know some upcoming things. And of course, I'm going to welcome new badasses to the group. I know I'm running a little late today. So let's welcome 14 new badasses to our group. We've got Melanie Acker, Patrick Flores, Caitlin Lunsford, Crystal Martinez, Maya Perez, Chris Lee, Thalia Kathleen, Aaron Williams, Allie Hoffman, Tristy Patterson, Denise Adriana Terry, Gabby Rowe, Carolyn Flores, and Jimena Isaza. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much for joining us so that you can be the most amazing badasses in Texas, because we have one goal here, folks, and that is to close the gaps in access to mental health in rural Texas, and who knows, maybe the entire country, right? Because if you go out of business because you didn't know the rules, because you don't know how to make money, because you don't know how to manage systems, and you leave this field, you're not doing anybody any favors. Your communities are going to rely on you. If you can't do this right and you go out of business, it ain't going to work. So remember, we are counselors for life, and counselors don't quit. So today, talking about this stuff is going to help you stay in business. If you are a grad student, I hope you go back and tell your professors. I hope you go back and tell your potential supervisors, the folks that you interview, to become a LPC associate, that you guys talk about this. And if you're working at an agency where perhaps you have a site supervisor and a clinical supervisor, it gets a little confusing, right? So it's important to know the difference. So before I get started, let me just tell you some upcoming things we have. And I'm trying to be super efficient this morning, and we'll see if it works. So this is October 28th. And we have so many cool things happening. November 15th, don't forget, Dr. Megan Pickens is going to be our mentor of the month, and she's going to talk to us about hiring right the first time. So those of you who are trying to grow your practice, you bosses out there, those of you who are trying to make sure that you hire good people the first time, tickets are only $25. November 15th, Dr. Megan Pickens will be joining us. And don't forget, the TCA Professional Growth Conference is coming up next week. My husband and I are leaving Monday. We're taking the camper. We're going to camp on the beach. Super excited about that. Lots of ways for us to interact and for you to interact with your peers. Taces is offering a meet and greet November 4th at 6 o'clock in the Spinnaker room. So there's going to be munchies. So we're really encouraging supervisors and grad students, let's come do some speed dating, right? Let's try to get to know one another and see what a good relationship, clinical relationship, looks like. I'm going to buy you a drink after that, and I'm joining two powerhouse ladies, Dr. Summer Allen and Cindy Doyle. I admire them so much, and we are all co-hosting an after party at B Jiggers in the Holiday Inn lounge next to the conference center. And if you come to my presentation where I'm going to help supervisors supervised self-employed LPC associates. No, the rule hasn't passed yet, but it's coming, right? So the 30-day comment period is closing tomorrow, and we expect this new rule to go live in 2022. So my presentation will be, I think they told me it's the yacht room. So hey, I'll play some yacht rock. It's going to be at 4 o'clock, November the 4th. Come and see me. I'll give you a drink ticket, good for one glass of wine, one soda, one beer, one cheap well drink, no Glenfiddich, please. And we'll go over to B Jiggers after the Taces get together, and we'll get to know one another and talk and chat. And just, I didn't get a booth this year, so this is where I really want to connect with you. So join us there. What else do I want to tell you? I think that's it. Well, the amazing Kenda Dalrymple was at our Texas Supervisor Training Group on Monday, and she blew our minds with all the stuff that we need to know as supervisors. So again, grad students, LPC associates, LMFT associates, if you're watching this, please tell your supervisors to join Texas Supervisor Training. Please get them over there. Have them get involved and join our monthly consultation group. It really, really does matter. You have to make sure you know what you're doing right now. Actually, you always do. But if you're going to be a supervisor, and if you're going to be a supervisor who's helping your supervisees be in business, dang, you better have your own shit together, right? So tell them to get over to Texas Supervisor Training. All right. What are we talking about today? We're talking about the difference between a remediation plan and a progressive discipline plan. So that means we have two roles we're outlining here, okay? So if you are a clinical supervisor, if you are with a LPC associate, LMFT associates, if you have signed a contract with the state to be a supervisor, you are a clinical supervisor. That means your job is to meet with your associates weekly, 4 hours a month, weekly, if you're an LMFT associate, to make sure they meet the requirements to become a fully licensed, upgraded LPC or LMFT in Texas. Supervisors, that's your job. Now you have other stuff in there too. You got to teach them the rules. You have to make sure that they know their theories, that they can conceptualize through theories, and on and on and on and on. But we talk about it. Everybody gets to be level 1. Everybody gets to be level 2, and everybody gets to be level 3, right? When you're 6, you can have Eggos for dinner, but when you're 16, you can't have Eggos for dinner. You got to eat the meatloaf. So level 1s, we don't expect them to be able to case conceptualize and critically think like the level 3. Level 3 associates are ready to become your colleague. You're going to sign off on those hours. They will become fully licensed. Along the way, we use things like paper and pencil evaluations. We use things like formative evaluation, just how we talk to one another during our supervision sessions to unch our associates up the ladder, level 1, level 2, level 3, coming from a place where they can regurgitate the information to a place where they can critically analyze and create their own theory and their own way of doing counseling. And we shape them and grow them. How do we do that? Well, sometimes our supervisees are missing a skill, right? I had a supervisee when I first got started. She was working with groups, but she didn't know how to do groups. And I was like, wait a minute. I looked, let me go back and look at your transcript, because I always have a transcript for my LPC associates, LMFT associates. I want to see, make sure they didn't get like a D in, practicum. It's okay if you get a D in research. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm looking at that. I looked at her. I'm like, oh, crap. Where's your groups class? So she had come from a university where group was like interwoven with another class. And that's not how I was trained. At Sam Houston State University, I had to take a group class. So I was like, oh no, right? For most associates, that's going to be a huge part of their training in those 3,000 hours is facilitating groups. So I had to create a remediation plan for my supervisee, not because she was in trouble, but because she had a skill that was lacking. Now, I have used remediation plans for more problematic behavior. For instance, if someone is with me for LMFT and they're not able to conceptualize through a theory, right? Because that can be tough to make that mind switch to thinking like a systemic therapist. So I might assign homework so that they can learn those theories. In more troublesome situations, perhaps there is a reluctance to file a case with CPS that I think should be filed. Perhaps there is some confusion about how to assess suicidal ideation with one of their clients. Then we're getting into more of a serious situation where remediation is going to teach them how to follow the rules. Then we have what I call just because I said so remediation. When you're a clinical supervisor, and you're putting your contract together, a lot of times you're thinking, well, what can I ask for? Here's my answer: anything you want, right? So basically, the contract between you and your LPC associate is a transparent, hey, this is me. Think of the dating game, right? You got to fill out the thing that says, what do I like? What do I dislike, right? You don't want to lie about that stuff. You don't want to be obscure about it. So, for example, if you do not want your LPC associate to have a public social media page, you can put that in your contract, right? Even though it's not an LPC rule, this is between you and your associate. You're helping your associate understand how you want to work with them. And if you don't like social media, guess what, associate? If you decide to sign on with that supervisee, you better follow their rule, because now it is a clinical issue. It comes down to the relationship. It's helping you understand whatever it is the supervisor is trying to teach you about social media, about boundaries, right? Who knows, right? But in any case, whatever is in that contract between you and your supervisor, if you're not able to maintain that, you may see a remediation plan. So I'm going to share my screen because that's why I got this new software. Again, super excited. I'm going to close this window a little bit. Whoa, there we go. Now you can see me. So when I share my screen, there we go. Nope, I don't want you yet. Let's look at our remediation plan. A remediation plan for a supervisee will look like this. This is one I created, but we have this in our Texas Supervisor Training Facebook group. We don't have it in the Badass Business group because Badass Business isn't really about supervision. If you are interested in supervision resources, you want to, again, tell your supervisor to go to the Texas Supervisor Training group. The issue, because that might be complicated, right? So if your supervisee is having difficulty with, let's say, social media, and you insist in the contract that they have a private social media presence, well, the issue then is privacy settings on social media, right? You don't care if they have a social media page, but as the supervisor, you just want everything to be private. You want to make sure that your supervisees aren't friending people who could be clients or et cetera, right? So the issue, you be as detailed as you possibly can. Put the rule here, right? If they're breaking a rule, if they're about to break a rule, put the rule here. Now, I always get asked, well, if they're breaking a rule, do I report them to the board? Y'all, everybody gets to be level 1. And in our rules as supervisors, we must remediate before we terminate. Of course, there are things we're not going to remediate, like having sex with a client, right? I don't want to remediate that. But you will give them an activity. And of course, one of those activities better be take your Facebook post to private. You may want that done by next week. And then you have a place where you can indicate if it was completed or not. Now, you might want them also to read the rules regarding boundaries. And then you might want them to read the ACA Code of Ethics. Oops, if I could spell. Regarding social media. So you can have completion dates for all of these, right? Let's say you want that done by 12/1 and you want this done by 1/1. Okay, I'm just throwing stuff out here. If you want, you can give them a second chance. Additional remediation, if they don't do that, well, you might want them to take a CE on social media at their own expense. So now your supervisee is having to pony up a little bit. They're having to pay some money in order to meet the criteria. Now, at the end, there's a place for the signature and date for both of you. Putting into writing, I understand I must complete the initial and additional remediation follow-up plan set forth by my supervisor, and my failure to do so will be grounds for termination of the supervisory relationship, possible termination of my contract employment, right? Because no supervisor, no work, right? If you're not being supervised, you cannot practice counseling, and notification of the appropriate licensing board of my activities. So this is a remediation plan, and what is at stake is your ability to practice. Okay. Now, the difference between this and a remediation plan is, number one, it's usually when you look at who's administering it, right? Your supervisor is going to administer the remediation plan. Your boss is going to administer the progressive discipline plan. Now, if you're a supervisor and you wear both hats, this is where it gets dicey. Okay. Because I hear all the time, well, this supervisee has 3 weeks behind on their notes. I don't want to sign off on their hours until they get caught up. You can't do that. If your supervisee shows up for supervision, you got to sign the note. You got to sign off on, not the progress note. You have to sign off on the supervision hour, right? You can't hold your signature hostage until the notes get caught up or the treatment plan is done. I get it. You're a boss. You're trying to make sure everything is ship shape. But this is where, if you're going to do both roles, if you're going to be the supervisor and you're going to be the site boss, first of all, I recommend you don't do that. I recommend that it's worth it to hire somebody else to be the boss. But if you're going to try to do it, then you're going to need a second policy and procedures manual and a separate employment contract. So you would have a clinical contract and an employment contract. In your policy and procedures manual, you'll see we have a section here for a progressive discipline plan. When we go to the progressive discipline plan, it's different from the remediation right off the bat because we're calling it misconduct. So we have the policy, it's in writing. The goal of our discipline system is to give the professional an opportunity to correct the problem rather than to punish them. The professional will be kept informed of our rules and the professional is expected to follow them. Well, hello, you're giving it to them at the end of a policy and procedures manual. Of course, they're going to know the rules. There's a signature page. They're going to sign there. I know that I have to show up with my shirt tucked in. I know that my notes have to be documented after every session. I know that I can't get three weeks behind in my notes. Those are procedural administrative issues. I know that I have to park in the employee parking lot, not in the spots for clients. None of those are related to our rules. Now, you might say, but Kate, in the rules, it says they must have their notes finished. Yes. Okay. So if the boss contacts you, the clinical supervisor, and says, hey, your supervisee hasn't done a note in 3 weeks. Supervisee, you may be getting hit by both sides. On one side, you may end up getting a write-up or a note in your work file. And then your supervisor may hit you with a remediation plan. The point is, though, there are two goals we're trying to accomplish, okay? Your remediation plan is designed to grow you into my colleague. The discipline plan is supposed to tell you this is how many strikes you have left before we fire you, right? And if you've ever worked anywhere, I mean, I used to work the fast food window at Hardee's, right? You get a verbal. If the problem persists, you get a written. If the verbal and written warnings fail to bring about the change in the desired conduct, the professional will be suspended and will be informed that further occurrences of the conduct will lead to the professional's immediate discharge. This is where supervisors sometimes make lousy bosses, right? Our job as a clinical supervisor is to grow you, remediate you. If you didn't do the remediation plan, it sounds like somebody else might be a better fit to grow you. Supervisors all get bent out of shape because they're like, oh, that person's going to go become a counselor. Well, yeah, of course they are. They're going to go find somebody to supervise them into the role of clinical supervisor. But karma's a bitch. If they can't do their job now, they're not going to be able to do it later. You did your job to grow them the best that you can. A remediation plan is designed to help them understand what the contract said, what you stand for. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, it's a breakup. It's not me, it's you. It's not you, it's me. Let's go our separate ways. With a progressive discipline plan, it's very cut and dry. We told you not to park there. Oh, we see you're parking there again. Here's a written warning. There you go. Oh, you're parking there and now you're yelling at the clients in the morning. I'm going to call your supervisor and say that you don't have good boundaries. Now you're going to have a discipline plan and a remediation plan. And by the way, you're one strike away from getting fired from us. Oh, look, you're parking there and you're still yelling at our clients. You're fired. Hey, supervisor, guess what? We just fired your supervisee. Just wanted to let you know. 2 plans, 2 purposes, 2 hierarchies. All right. So I hope this leads to lots and lots of questions. In the thread, let me know if you want to know more information. Again, the remediation plan is already loaded up in our Facebook page, Texas Supervisor Training. The Badass Group, I don't know. I'm pretty sure we have a policy and procedures manual template. I'm pretty sure we have this one. So if you will, as always, go to Files up here, click Files, and then you'll see Media. So there are paper files, and then there are these videos. People ask me all the time, what happens to the videos? They live in our files. So you should be able to see the progressive discipline plan here. Hey, it's free. Share it. The more you know, right? We want our businesses, our agencies, our bosses to do an amazing job. Now, next week, was that loud enough? I will be at the TCA Professional Growth Conference. More than likely will not be doing a Facebook Live, but I hope you've enjoyed this series on what every supervisor should know, what every supervisee should know. We're going to get these videos in shape and we're going to put them on the Kate Walker Training YouTube channel. So go check it out there. We'll probably get it up there in about 3 weeks. So you can double check it there so you don't have to scroll through all the Facebook stuff. And for those of folks who are not on Facebook, please, I know that's not you, right? But you know people. Share this stuff with them. Let's get the word out. Let's let people know that there are resources out there that you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for. Enough to get your business going, right? That's what we do. We share because you're too important to lose to things like going out of business and not knowing the difference between a progressive discipline plan and a remediation plan. All right. If you have questions, post them in the thread. I will be checking those out after I go get fingerprinted. It's time for me to renew. I'm going to head over to the Identigo, get my fingerprints done, and then maybe go shopping. So have a great day, everybody. And I will try to end this. See ya.